Hi, I am Ben Alexander and I have autism. And today I'm going to share with you something that I have thought about and continue to need to work on and improve on this. Facing your fears and not giving up. I believe we all have fears, and fears are driven by anxiety and depression and the unknown. And the unknown is a very, very scary place. For example, I am unemployed right now. I don't have a job. I don't know what's next in my career, so I'm in this kind of exploration stage of my career. It is an exciting stage because the world's available to you, but also it's also very scary because you don't know exactly what holds or what's out there. And since I've got fired, I can explain this to myself. I don't want to go to another job and get fired from it again. And, it's that would be very hard to get even a job, because eventually people are not going to want somebody that keeps getting fired from their jobs. And I've held maybe 4 or 5 different jobs, and the last job was the only one I got fired from. So I can say that I have a pretty good record of work habits. It's just the reason why I got fired, and I'll put the video in the end screen. It's just because I wasn't a good fit, and I wasn't very good at what I was doing. It was industrial type of work, and it just wasn't a good fit. And I was making too many mistakes, costing them some money, and ultimately got let go after 2 months of working there. But, at the end of the day, it's in the past. I'm not mad at them or anybody. It's just sometimes things don't work out the way you expect them to work out, and you just have to keep moving forward and not letting your fears stop you. Because if you let your fears stop you from moving forward, you're not going to be in a good position at all. And I want everybody to be in a good position in life. I don't want anybody to fail. I don't want anybody to waste their life. And I have had moments where it's like, I feel like I've wasted my life chasing after things that I probably shouldn't chase after, and, things that I probably shouldn't focus my mind on, but I end up doing. At the end of the day, you focus on the fears, and it's like, oh no, I'm going to fail this, and I don't even want to try, even though it might be the best opportunity in your life. And if you just put aside your fears, you could actually succeed something. And, that is something that's the fear I'm talking about. That's the exact fear I'm talking about. You need to let that go. Fear that isn't helpful or developmental. Like, sometimes fear is a good thing. For example, you want to look both ways when you're crossing the road, because you should have the fear of getting hit by a car and dying. That fear is actually a good thing because it prevents you from dying. I'm not saying all fear is bad, but, there is a lot of fear that is unnecessary, and fear is damaging when it's used in the wrong ways, of course. We've all experienced that. Same with anger, righteous anger, for example. The righteous anger of somebody witnessing a murderer. I mean, you should be angry at the murderer, or murdering, that act of murdering, because at the end of the day, murder is wrong, and that's where righteous anger can come into. But again, a lot of people have completely gotten this wrong, and we've all had experiences where it's like, they did this wrong, and humanity just has gotten this all so wrong. And I want to hear you today, or speak to you today, and I want you to hear what I'm trying to tell you. And again, I'm not trying to come across as a butthole or whatever, but I am just trying to encourage you guys that you really need to be careful of who you associate yourself with, what you watch, because if you end up consuming a bunch of negative media, then you'll eventually become a negative person. And for myself, when I consume negative media, instantly become a negative person. But when I'm consuming positive media, it makes me a much better person. So, and again, I'm not here to say media is bad or whatever. Again, a lot of people don't use media in the right ways. And a lot of people use media for evil instead of good. And I'm trying to use media for good. And I hope you guys can see that. But, you know, as a person with autism, it's very easy to have fears related to autism too. It's like, you know, I don't understand social cues or body language. Do they think I'm dumb? You know, those type of fears too. And you just have to let those go as well. It's like, you know what? You are a human and you deserve as much dignity and respect as they have. You know, because we all have struggles in our lives. We can all experience that and relate to that. Nobody is perfect. And if they expect us to be perfect, well, I don't know how to fix that, you know? Because again, I want everybody to just try your best and be respectful of each other. I think that's where we all flourish, is when you truly feel valued and loved and respected, and, you know, you feel like this person gives you a worth and a price tag, and they love you so much that they'll do anything to protect you. That's the type of love you are looking for, and that's the type of love we all want. But when we've been hurt and wounded, maybe by our family or other friends or, you know, romantic relationships, though I've never had a romantic relationship, but, you know, there's all these hurts that come in the world, and that produces a lot of fear and anxiety. It's like, what happens if this happens again and again? I think you have to look at this and be like, listen, what opportunities can I do? What opportunities can happen? What happens if I choose this route, or what happens if I don't make this choice? You know, that type of thing. Where it's like you gotta weigh the pros and cons about every decision you make. And, you know, sometimes even when you weigh the pros and cons, somehow the decision goes in the wrong way, and that gets discouraging too. But at least try and give 100% effort. At the end of the day, at the end of your life, on your deathbed, would you rather be known as a person that tries to make something work even though I failed, you know, but I've tried to work and I've tried my best? Or do you want a person that just doesn't try at all and be like, well, I just wasted my life by not trying. You know, if I would have tried, I might have had this. And again, I'd rather be the first person that tries and tries and tries and tries different ideas and different theories and all that stuff, and at least gives it 100% effort. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, you know. But at least you're trying, and if you're trying, you're giving yourself a shot. And I think that's why you gotta let go of those fears, because you gotta try to give yourself a chance. You gotta give yourself a chance. And I know I'm 24 years old, and in my head, I act like the world's ending. It's like, crap. You know, why don't I just give up and not try anymore? It's like nothing's going in my favor. But, you know, there's something that keeps me a hold. And, you know, what if? What if I need to make an effort? What if in 10 years, you know, I become really popular on YouTube, or I become popular on the internet with this channel and other channels like Ben's Allergy and Restaurant Reviews, because I do have another YouTube channel and another business. So yeah, you know, what happens if that becomes very successful? You know, I'd feel really good about myself, and I feel like I'd have spent my time wisely. But not trying is very dangerous, and a very dangerous mindset. And I feel like the not trying, the not effort, it's because it's fear related. I think 100% sure that it's fear related. It's like, well, I'm fear of failing. You know, I have lack of motivation because I'm afraid that I'm going to fail, and I'm afraid that somebody's going to burn me and basically point me in the wrong direction, and I'm hopeless. And, you know, I feel like there's a lack of trust in the world. Nobody trusts each other anymore. And again, not nobody, but a lot of people have lost trust, and there are trustworthy people out there, but there is a lot of confusion and all that stuff in the world right now, and all this unrest and war, and I just hope someday it stops. you know. I hope God comes back and puts an end to it, you know. And we get a better heaven and a better earth because of Jesus Christ, you know. It's all I can really say to you. And you know, I've started to kind of realize that, you know, there's no other way besides God. And, you know, there's nothing that can make me more happy than knowing that God loves me and I'm favored in the eyes of God. There's nothing that won't excite me more than that. That's the only thing that matters, is being viewed in the eyes of God as worthy. And Jesus died on the cross for my sins and your sins so that can happen. And I still struggle with fear, even though I've accepted Jesus into my heart. I still struggle with that, and I've gotten to the point where it's like, is this really me? Like, is God really loving me? You know, I've gone through that too. But again, everybody has their own religious beliefs, but this is just my religious beliefs, like I keep saying. And this is my experience and my story. And again, if you're mad that I'm a Christian, again, that's your right. But at the same time, that's not going to stop me from sharing my story, because I want to share my story to you as honestly as I possibly can, because I'm trying to be authentic and relatable and trying to have real conversations. And that's really the goal, is to have a real conversation about mental health and autism and all that stuff. And I'm very passionate about this stuff. So yeah, I mean, I hope that everything can work out in your life. Just don't let the fears hold you back, and make sure that the anxiety and the depression just doesn't overrule you. Go to God, go to counseling, do all that stuff. And I think that's it. And thank you for watching to the end of my video. I hope you got something out of it. I'll see you in the next video.